Hello ladies, gents, boys and girls, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we're back in the TFDi MD-11, flying a very special route. I had to dig deep into the archives of the internet to try and find out what routes the MD-11 did, especially in Asia, and there was one that I couldn't resist. It was JAL, and it was from Narita over to Kai-Tak. We'll be doing the runway 13 arrival as well. Of course, we're in the updated version of the TFDi MD-11. We're cruising at 34,000 feet with a cost index of 200, and we'll be taking 282 passengers departing on runway 16 rights, and of course doing the very famous visual approach into runway 13 at Kai-Tak. So let's jump into the flight deck and get everything set up for departure. Okay, so welcome into the flight deck of the MD-11. GSX is boarding. We'll jump into the overhead panel and get the IRSs to nav. Get the start switch to A. Emergency exit lights armed, and we'll get the seatbelts and no smoking on. And that is pretty much the overhead panel set. So we'll go FMC 1. We'll just align the secondary artificial horizon. And then RTO on the auto-brake flight plan. And we'll send that flight plan over to the FMC. And that's gone in, so we'll go JAL. And we are flight number 753. 340 is our cruise altitude. Our temperature is 7 degrees with a headwind of 79. That's what the flight time is, 4 hours today. And cost index of 200. And I'll initialise the IRS. And the alternate is Zulu Golf Golf Golf. That's everything set up there. So we'll go flight plan. RJAA SID 16 right, bit of a long taxi today. And the SID we're going to be taking is the Pigok 2. It looks like. There it is there. And that's lovely. There's no secondary part of the SID. And then we'll jump down to the VHHX, and the scenery we're using here is Drazeki Designs, and we've got the World Update Japan as well. And when we get to Kai-Tak, we're using the one that comes with the flight sim, which is really good anyway. So we're on the IGS-13, and the arrival is going to be the Mago 13. Just having a look, what is that, because you won't be able to see the charts because there is no charts in the sim for Kai-Tak, but I'm looking at my charts to see what the minimum profile is. It's Mago 13, and there is no transition, I don't believe. I'll have a double check, but just scrolling through my charts that I've got on my iPad to the left of me. So yeah, there is no transition, and the minimum profile is, well, we'll just put 1,000 in. It'll be an ILS anyway, to the checkerboard. We'll go flight plan, and we'll go plan, and we'll have a look through the routing today. So we should get a really nice view of Mount Fuji as we make that right turn out in Narita, down the coast of China, and then swinging it into Hong Kong, right overhead the new airport, which we have by WFS-SIM, so that'll be nice view as we go over the top. And we are using there's a scenery pack for Hong Kong city centre, which I've downloaded and paid for, and that should be really cool when we're going into Kai-Tak. So as I said, there is no airport charts for VHHX because the airport's not there anymore. So we'll have a look at our departure. We'll go and have a look at the taxi charts, which are there. And yeah, so we're in this little alcove here. I'm going to taxi right, follow it down, and then we'll go full length for 1.6 right. That's everything okay with this. We'll get the APU to start. And I'll match up courses, or the heading, sorry, on the autopilot panel. And the SID is the Big Oak 2, so we'll try and find that. I wish in an update they would add a scroll wheel for this so you could just scroll through. But anyway, 20,000 is the stop altitude, or the max altitude we can go to. So we'll plug that in there. Now we'll go to performance. And block fuel 40.8, and I'll have a look at the flight plan. So our alternate is actually quite far away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add extra fuel. It hasn't taken into account that our alternate is not very close. So I'll put the weights in manually. And that looks okay. Weight 79 kg per passengers. And we go 7,850, and the fuel will take an extra 5 tons because I don't have the performance for the aircraft. I don't know it very well, but I know it's a bit of a gas guzzler, this plane is. So we'll go 45 tons, and that just in case we need to sod off to somewhere else. We've got enough fuel to. I mean, the weather, I've checked the weather. You can't check the weather for Kai Tak itself, but the actual airport in Hong Kong is very nice at the moment. The weather's not too bad, so that's okay. And we'll get the weather and everything. And oh, come on, it's a bit annoying, the click spots on the iPad as well. You have to go into the sort of camera view that I've got, and there you go, finally. And we'll go packed on for departure, and that's everything plugged in there. Just make sure the QNH is correct. And we'll calculate, and it's giving us flap 25, so we'll go down to the dialer flap and get that set to 25. And we'll go 25 with a 59 as the flex. I wish you could bring the iPad like on the 777, the PMDG, down to the pedestal with you. So it's minus 0.1/4, so a headwind of 4, and we'll go 16 Charlie for the outside air temperature, and then we can plug in the V speeds. Got 156 plugged in, and we'll trim the aeroplane. That's okay there. Oh, there's the dome light. Well, I think that's everything set up. I'm just trying to check my throttles to make sure they're all bind correctly, and that is pretty much it until GSX has finished boarding. Got the IRSs aligned. Set the parking brake, and I'll see you very shortly when we're all set up for pushback. So GSX is getting us ready for pushback. IRSs are aligned, everything's ready to go basically. we'll just need to release the parking brakes and let GSX do its thing. So we'll get the beacon light on now, and the transponder to go to TARA. The overhead panels configured for pushback and engine start. For an old aircraft, it's actually quite automated. The MD-11 is. It's quite interesting when you learn about the plane. I keep recommending a guy called Father Time. He's an ex-MD-11 captain for American Airlines. His videos and his if you go into his Discord, he's got like a manual for the MD-11 that he sort of stitched together himself on the internet with all old manuals and stuff. It's absolutely brilliant, and that's how I learned how to fly this plane. But I'd recommend going over to his channel to have a look if you're interested in trying to learn the plane. I know it can be a bit of a put off when purchasing like an aircraft like this because it's a bit different, but let me tell you, I think this is my #1 favourite plane on a Microsoft Flight Simulator. The only reason I don't fly it as much is I just like flying realistic routes, and you can't really in this plane anymore unless it's FedEx, but it gets a bit boring when you're flying cargo all the time. So I thought we'd jump into the retro ops and do some Japanese Airlines flying. But just look at that aircraft. Just looks stunning. So we'll go tail right. Release the parking brake. Let's go engine pushback. So we'll go engine #1. So you just wait for it to get to 10, and then you throw the fuel in. And engine #1 can start. It's really easy to get the aeroplane started. Just gets a bit of taking used to like the time of, well, just knowing what to do in the startup really. The FMC is pretty basic. The landing, I'm getting better at the landing actually. I kept planting them in this. After a couple of flights in it, I'm getting used to the flare, especially on flat 35, which we'll probably go for today. Gives you a little bit more speed. And there you go, there's the cutout for engine #1, so that's started. Just looking at the taxi charts here, we've got a very long taxi actually. I'll probably just cut it and do a little spin up thing with some music in the background for you guys. I don't think you want to watch me taxi at 10 knots all the way around the airport. And engine #2 can go to, we'll throw fuel in, sorry. Such a cool aeroplane this is. And it's really good on frames. It's on par, or maybe even better than the PMDG. The Uni-built aircraft and the Phoenix are the harshest on frames for me. The best aircraft I own are all the Just Sim, TFDi, set the parking brake quickly, and the PMDG stuff. Brilliant. And we'll just tell GSX that we've got a good engine start before we start engine #3. Yeah, we've got World Update Japan on. We've got Payware Scenery, Jurezeki Designs, which is known for being quite harsh on frames, and it's running really smoothly. Really, really nice. I'll throw the fuel in. Really excited for the 777-200, which should be coming out anytime this week. Recording this on the 15th of April. And Randazzo, the PMDG CEO, has said that from basically tomorrow to I think the 26th, it should be coming out. So that's the release window. So I'm very excited, looking forward to flying some V8 777 ops 200. Hopefully soon we'll get some different aircraft. I know the Boeing and Airbus is all fun and all, but I really want to fly Dash 8. And Majestic have been very quiet for a while, and we're hoping soon, maybe this year sometime, we'll get a Dash 8. So that'll be some cool flying, some retro fly the ops in the UK. And there's the bypass pin, so we'll go upstairs, get the taxi light on. Everything in the event panel is set itself. We'll go flaps to 25 and speed brake. We'll go to the config. We'll just make sure the flaps get to 25, which they are. And we'll do flight control check to full right. Neutral, full left. Neutral, full forward. Neutral, back. Neutral, have the rudders. Full left and full right. All flight controls are free and correct. The reason I haven't turned the APU off is I didn't know this until I watched the Father Time video. It turns itself off. Once all the engines are started, it has like a cool off period, which I think is really good. It just turns itself off. So, I've got a taxi now that'll take about 10 minutes. So I'll cut this from here and I'll jump back in when we are at the holding point for runway 16 right. Right, so let's get the takeoff lights on and the runway turn-offs and the high intensities. So I'm comfy in the chair and my feet on the pedals. We will rock and roll out of here. Not that heavy, so we shouldn't take up that much runway. And like I said, we're going to be departing straight out, then right hand turn. We should get a brilliant view of downtown Tokyo and Mount Fuji. So this is why I installed the SIM update in Japan for this reason. So we'll line it up. So there's no toggle button in this aircraft, we're just going to spool them up. We'll hold it there first. Make sure we're all nice and squared off. So like I said, there's no toga button. We're going to push the thrust levers forward until they're stable, and then as soon as we push them past a certain point, I don't know what the percentage is for that. There is no speed restriction on this SIM though, which is good, so we'll just floor it. So yeah, we'll push the thrust levers forward, stabilise them. Once they go past a certain point, the takeoff clamp or auto throttle will take over and push them into the takeoff position, which it's done now. And we have takeoff clamp. And listen to those engines. Maintaining centerline with rudder. So 156 knots is our takeoff speed. There's rotates, we'll pull through, and up we go. As it jumps off the ground, that is a positive rate, gear up, and straight onto the flight directors. Goodbye Tokyo, and look at that, goodbye Narita. So the autopilot is giving us nav and profile commands. So I didn't show this because it was in the sped up part, but before takeoff you need to click auto flight once, followed by the things you want it to do. So I click auto flight, nav and profile, and oops, and then if you wanted to put the autopilot on, it's just one click auto flight and the autopilot will take over. It's really bumpy, really sluggish this aeroplane is, so we'll park the autopilot in. There you go. We'll let it find itself. Yeah, it's full left on the aileron then, just to keep it wings level. And look at that ortho down there, beautiful. Look at that. So the aeroplane's pitching forward now as we're going to climb. Encounter some turbulence. So speed brake can be disarmed, and we'll come over and turn the auto brake to the off position. Just watch the speed for a second, and flaps can go to the slats position, and those big flaps can come in now. That countryside looks lovely over there. Beautiful. Yeah, I wouldn't like to be landing into this weather. Hope it's not like this over in Hong Kong. And of course we've gone for clean. The slats have come in. The aeroplane's going to pitch now for 250 knots. It's still quite rocky. Climbing nicely though.
Stabilizer motion.
So we'll get the taxi and runway turn-off lights off now. Weather's calmed down a little bit, so we're a bit more stable. So we'll just bug the cruise altitude we're going for, 340, and we'll let the profile take over. There's lovely countryside out there. And they're not kidding when they say Narita is absolutely nowhere near Tokyo. We've been flying in a straight line for ages, and Tokyo's right over there. And as you can see Mount Fuji peering off into the distance that we're going to fly over in a second. Some brilliant views. These world updates are brilliant. And that looks like we're getting to 10,000 feet, so that's everything. The aeroplane's going to handle most of it until we get to Hong Kong, where I'll have to sweat a little bit and do some work. But for now, I'll leave you with some absolutely beautiful and stunning views of Tokyo and a bit of Hong Kong before I jump back in and attempt to try and land it in Kai Tak. Hello and welcome back into the flight deck where the workload is about to start picking up very shortly. We have plugged in the ILS, which is 111.9 at 088, which is the course. You can't see this, but I've got a series of charts that I've pulled off the internet on my iPad. The approach that we're going to do, so it's going to take us towards Hong Kong International Airport, the big one. And the minimums on the Barrow minimums is going to be 675. That will be the one we need. So 675 as we're about to slow down. Like I said, we're going straight to Hong Kong Airport and fly straight over the top. By that point we'll be established on the ILS. The ILS will take us to 1,000 feet. As soon as I've got visual of that checkerboard approaching on, I'm happy and stable. I'll disconnect and do the flying by hand. It is daytime, so it might be a bit hard to see the leading lights, but we should be able to see the approach quite clearly. Just check the weather. It's a bit cloudy, overcast at 2,000, but it should be okay for us to swing and approach. Apart from that, the TFDi has handled the flight absolutely perfectly so far. It's been really good. This livery is absolutely stunning as well. You can find this livery on the flightsim.to website. I'll try and link it in the comments below if you guys want it. So this is my first ever approach into contact. I've never done it before. That's why I'm so prepared with the charts. Should have really done the test sector, but couldn't be bothered. I just wanted to jump straight into it. I watched a video tutorial, and then I've been looking at the charts that are on the internet, and it looks hard, but it's not that difficult. The charts make it seem harder than it is, but it's just you descend on an ILS and then disconnect and then manually position yourself via the leading lights, a bit like Madeira does, onto the runway. The only problem is you're about 10 foot away from these massive skyscrapers. I was watching some old school videos, and there's a famous video of an Alitalia MD-11 basically crash landing. And I don't know how or why they continued the approach, but they land. You'll have to watch the video, it's on YouTube. Just type in MD-11 Alitalia landing at Kai-Tak, and it lands sort of, it's not even on the runway, it lands basically on the water side to the right of the runway, and sort of skids not even close to the centre line. It's absolutely hilarious, but I mean, I don't know the conditions that day, but surely you should have gone around. But that is what started this video off. I watched that and I thought, yes, we've got to do that. And speaking of contact, there it is, just off the right hand side of the nose. So we're using the I think it's Sam Designs, their downtown scenery for downtown Hong Kong. We're using the default scenery for Kai-Tak, which I believe is made by Aviation-SIM, and of course the wonderful WFS-SIM VHHX Hong Kong International Airport for the main airport, which we'll be flying over shortly. Yeah, some interesting videos about Kai-Tak arrivals. There's a brilliant video by, I think it's Just Planes. It's one of their like old school documentaries where it's just plane spotting from a building in Kai-Tak from a couple of different angles, and some of the old school jets that come over are absolutely stunning. There's a couple of, I think it was a China Eastern A300 that came over, a couple of MD-11s, 747 Queen in the sky, absolutely brilliant when that came in. So that really cool. It's a very famous Cathay Pacific livery. It's all sort of green. It's got like dragons down the side. So I think it's a 747-200. That was cool. A Virgin Atlantic 330-300 that was recorded there. just some real old school jets. But yeah, we get to recreate it in the sim. And as you can see, it's already starting to look a bit busy down there. I'm hoping I don't mess it up too bad. Or I'm hoping for a bit of a beginner's luck for my first approach. It's looking absolutely lovely down there. I'm looking forward to all the different aircraft that are coming out this year. We've got the 350, and that's flyable now. It's actually quite decent. Got the MD-11, which I'm flying now, which is brilliant. Got all the PMPG products that are coming. I think if you guys read the post by Robert Randazzo, he said that the 777-200 is coming out sometime this week. Then the LR, the 200LR, which is like the ultra long haul, long range one that used to do the world's longest flight. That thing's coming out in June, and then they're just going to update the stuff over to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I didn't see anything about the 747 though, which was a bit disappointing. I was hoping to see the 400 at least by the end of the year. I mean, we still might get it. That was just like a summer plan from them. But I'd really love to see Queen of the Skies and fly the 74 properly. I downloaded, not that one, those, thank you. Downloaded the Salty Sim 747-8 thingy the other day, and it's just crap. It's a freeware, but it's just crap. But it didn't fly very well. But flying the 747, I've always wanted to fly the 400. Get a bit of speed break out first, because it's a bit fast. But yeah, I've got a real urge to fly the 747, basically. Hopefully that will be coming out by the end of the year. It's a bit strange as well. Just reading on some forums and stuff about how Quality Wings haven't released 787 yet, and I was thinking about that. They said they was, and now it's been 4 years and nothing's happened. So I think that's a dead project. The Majestic Q400 as well. I'd love to fly the Q400. But what's coming out soon apart from the 200? We've got the Phoenix announcing they've got 321 Neo and 320 Neo. That'd be cool. Because the operator I fly for as cabin crew may or may not operate 321 Neos. So that'll be very cool. What else is coming out? There's a 737 Classic coming out, which I'm very interested for, because the operator I may or may not be cabin crew for also flies 737 Classics, so that'll be interesting. The only problem is it's by, I think, if I've done the research correctly, as I'm trying to search for VHHX, is just Captain Sim, isn't it? But it's their proper product, and a lot of people have said it's actually really good in P3D, so I'm actually willing to give that a go. It is $120 or $110, $120 it's going to be, but they've got that stupid payment plan for it where you can rent it for $5 a month, which is absolutely ludicrous. But yeah, I might give that a go if that's any good. I think they're coming out with the 500 first and then 300 later. I'm more interested in the 300 for maybe obvious reasons, but yeah, I might give that a go. Right, flaps, well not flaps 1, it's slats first on the MD-11, so we get some slats angled to 10 knots, hold the speed, and swinging it round over the mountain, and there is Hong Kong International. Beautiful, look at that. And we'll get all the lights on now so I don't forget. Look at that. Little breakout through the bottom layer of the cloud. Brilliant. And the scenery down there, the WFS-SIM, sorry, not the, is absolutely brilliant. I've got the guys who do that scenery. I've got their Beijing capital, their Shanghai Pudong, this one, and they're all fantastic. Quite performance. Light and how big the airports are. They're quite friendly on the old performance. As you can see, I'm flying right above it. If we were flying over Heathrow, I would have had 17 stutters and I would have been at about 10 FPS. Flight 15, 200 knots. I'll shallow that rate, extend it out. We'll go approach mode, so we've got localizer, and we'll be on the glide shortly. That's why I've shallowed the descent. Actually getting me a bit low, a bit lower than I'd like. That's flight 15. Be interesting to see what the city pattern looks like as well. All I did was I loaded in at Kai Tak on the runway, and I just zoomed around with the drone camera to make sure none of the buildings were interfering with the approach. They weren't, so quite happy with that. And here's the glide coming in. So it's 147 final approach speed, but because of the type of approach I'm doing and the nature of this aeroplane, I'm going to go 155 final approach, just to give us a bit of extra leeway. Mach 35 as well, so it'll be a bit more less conservative. So we'll go down to 17 or 18. So pull. Gear down, and then flap 28. And glide slope captured. So book 4,500, which is the go around on the chart. We won't be going around today. I'm going to get it on that runway. A bit like those pilots who flew the Alitalia, even if it does make a crash. And that looks absolutely stunning. There is the scenery pack coming in. Well, we're going to find approach speed. 155, 2500. And there is flap 35. I think the scenery pack as well adds in all the boats. Right, so we've got landing gear down 3 degree, flaps 35 and indicating, spoilers armed. We are on the approach and I can see, I think that's the checkerboard. Yeah, and I think those boats are included in the scenery pack as well. It just makes it look so realistic. That is so cool. And one more look outside. Look at that. Wow. And just to think we can recreate this in the sim. Right, getting close to 1,000 feet now, so I'll just make sure I can see the checkerboard, which I can, it's there. Right, I'm ready to do so. Let's disconnect. keep the thrust in. Trimming. So thrust stays in until touchdown, where it's a bit like the 777. It'll retard itself to idle. I'm just going to swing myself slightly left, so that wind sort of pushes us onto the runway.
Glide slow. Glide slow. Glide slow. Glide slow.
Glide slow. I'm looking. There is a slight discrepancy. I can see the pappies, and we're one red, so glide slope's looking a bit funny there. And I can see the leading lights, so I'm going to switch from checkerboard to leading lights. I'm going to start swinging it round now. So we're slightly left of them.
Glide slow. Glide slow.
Disregarding the glide slope, I've got pappies.
Glide slow. Glide
Bang
slow.
on.
Glide slow. Glide slow. Glide slow.
300 minimum.
Continue. So it's saying we're high, but we're not.
200.
Sink rate. Sink rate.
All dead freeze now.
100.
Sink rate.
40. 30. 20.
Hold it there.
10.
Thrust is coming back. And actually that weren't too bad in the MD-11 for me. Speed brakes are up, reverses are green. Blew the nose wheel down nicely as well, centre line. And decelling nicely. See if we can make the high speed on the left. Let's not pause it now. That was pretty successful actually. Don't know why it was telling me sync rate. Looked pretty bang on to me. That's the only thing that really annoys me about Microsoft Flight Simulator. We were pretty much bang on for that whole approach, but because of the mismatch in the glide slope and the pappies as well, is every airport I go to, the ILS, the pappies are mismatched with the glide slope, and you sort of have to eyeball at every approach. Because if we would have gone for 2 red, 2 white, we would have landed about 500 metres before the runway started. So we'll swing it round slowly. It's a bit of a sloth to get round the corner. The MD-11 is. Have to be really slow with it. All things considered, that's my first ever approach into Kaitac. Pretty alright. Wasn't too bad. Everyone's still okay. And I tell you what, it's a lot better than that Alitalia one that I watched. I still can't believe that. Please go and watch that on YouTube. Absolutely incredible how they still pressed on. So it's pretty simple here, but I didn't realise when I checked in the chart how small the actual airport was. Hong Kong, the new airport, is absolutely huge, and the old airport, Kai Tak, is tiny. So close to the water, it's absolutely crazy that they kept this airport open for how long they did. I know there was a couple of incidents here. I know that wasn't there a 747 that rolled off the end of the runway, the ones in like stormy weather or rain. I think a long time ago I watched air crash investigations about that. I do miss old school air crash investigations actually. That was a good programme when I was younger. start slowing down a little bit in a minute. So the ground chart's not that clear, so I'm going to jump out into the camera. I'm just going to have a look. So we won't take this right or the next right, we'll take the... It looks like there's no right-hand turn into the terminal. It looks like it's like anti-clockwise, you always have to go in, which is okay. And we'll probably take the stand furthest to the right, the air bridge. It says stand 8, I think. Just before I set GSX up, we'll make sure and go around. But yeah, this airport's free. If you have the 40th anniversary of Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I think everyone does, I think it was a free update, you get KaiTak, which is made by Aviation-SIM, I believe. It's really nice, as you can see. Textures are pretty sound. Let's have a look at the terminal building in a minute. I don't know what buildings they do away from the airport, because I have the scenery pack installed, which adds a lot of different stuff. I mean, you can see the density of the buildings, and we're still getting really good frames in this plane as well. Really good frames. So I'll swing you around there. I'll turn taxi lights off as well. Yeah, I could just imagine how epic it would be actually doing this in the real world. It'd be so cool. So there's stand 8 over there in the corner. That's the one I want to go for. Go on GSX. Hopefully it'll swap over and understand where we are. There you go. We've got parking stands and gates. I'll wait until I've swung it round first and to actually look at the parking stand number before, because I don't know, it doesn't say on the chart that I'm looking at what the parking stands are. It's just the airport overview, and it's got the main taxiway, the runway headings and courses, the ILS and the approach, but it's got nothing else apart from the stand. It's got it's got it highlighted and say a different chart, but I don't have that chart on my thing, so just eyeballing it as usual. That's how most of my flying is, eyeball it. So that yellow sign is definitely number 8. So we'll go 8. No, we don't need to follow me car because I'm already there. We'll get dragged there. Because why not? Now we can roll straight on. Oh, that's another thing I forgot to do. GSX profile. I knew there was something before. Hopefully it lines me up. I might have to, again, eyeball it onto the... oh no. Well, he's in the terminal. Hopefully he doesn't take me too far in. There's a guide in here. Coming in a little bit hot. Steady on the brakes there. And yeah, call it a day there. Don't want to go any further in. Set the parking brake. Engine 1, 2 and 3 are dead. And beacon light off. And welcome down to KaiTak. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did. What an absolutely epic approach in the MD-11. That plane is brilliant. TFDi designs have made a brilliant product, and I'd recommend it. Since its updates, it's just got better and better. And that approach was stunning as well. The scenery, like I said, it's completely free. The outside of the airport and sort of the approach, not so much. That's a payware product by Sam3D, I believe it is. But the airport is completely free, so you can do this in any copy of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Hope you enjoyed today's video as much as I did. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you want me to do any flight suggestions that you wish for me to try, please don't hesitate to pop them in the comments below. I do try and get through all of them as much as possible. I'll see you again very shortly in the next video. I do hope that will be in the 777-200. Hopefully it'll be out by the time I'm ready to do another video. But if not, we'll jump back into something a bit more familiar. And I'll see you all in the next one.